In truth, I quiver at the thought. Such is his frightful repute. But the fear simply assures me the ordeal is worth undertaking.
I know what you're wondering. What could I possibly say about this game that hasn't already been said a million times over? How about this? There are two types of people who picked up Elden Ring when it first came out. Those who had no idea what they were walking into and fell in love anyway, and those for whom this wasn't their first rodeo. People like me. We knew exactly what we wanted out of this game. Pain. We sought the way to the struggle. We came into it to be broken. There's a reason I opened this video with Iron Fist Alexander. His journey isn't just a side quest, it's a mirror. He had one pursuit, one dream, to become the greatest champion of them all. And yet, every step forward was met with resistance, struggle. Even moments where his confidence cracked, where doubt whispered that maybe he wasn't enough.
After that, I hid like a coward. And as such, I can hardly stand to face one such as you.
But here's the thing. That's not just Alexander's story. That's ours. Because let's face it, we love these games, yes, but there's an inherent reason we gravitate to them and why we gravitate so hardly onto Elden Ring. We choose to struggle throughout our time in the lands between. Nobody forced us to pick this game up. Nobody twisted our arm to suffer through the nightmare that is Caelid Wilds or the misery of fighting a tree spirit, let alone two at once. But why? Why do we willingly step into a world that we know is trying to break us, like it's an immune system and we're the infection? Since the dawn of time, there has been one story in particular that humanity has been told time and time again. The story of the hero who suffers, who breaks, and who rises. Gilgamesh, Achilles, Hercules, all of them defined not by the easy path, but by the trials that tested them. You can look at Elden Ring as one of these chapters. We step into the lands between knowing full well it'll not be kind to us. Death is certain, failure is certain. The game makes a promise from the very beginning. You will fail. And still we walk forward. Why? Because deep down, we know the struggle isn't an obstacle. The struggle is the point. Every boss fight is a trial. Every death a test of our resolve. And every victory is a step forward. It's proof that we endured, that we were able to adapt to the situation and conquer it. Much like a lot of us, getting to Margit to have that initial reality check. I know I had to go back and farm a few more runes and get some upgrades before I took him down for the first time. That's why we keep coming back. Not because we enjoy the pain, but because overcoming is intoxicating. It mirrors the oldest human truth that only by breaking do we discover what we're truly made of. This is something that I've attempted to mimic and traverse into my everyday life. It's a notion that we all subconsciously know, sure, but we seem to choose to forget. Nowadays, more than any other period in time, we're so quick to give up on something when things get hard, or when results don't present themselves in a quick enough fashion. Social media is quick. Headlines replace full stories, and videos are progressively shorter to match our diminishing attention spans. Now, more than ever, do we need games like Elden Ring to remind us that it's okay to not hold our hand. It's okay to present a seemingly immovable wall in front of us like Malenia, one that we're only getting through sheer insistence and perseverance. 100 deaths. Maybe more. That's what it took for me. Different builds, new tactics, failure after failure. I could have cheesed her, I could have summoned help, but I knew if I did, I'd carry that little ember of disappointment in myself long after the victory message popped up on my screen. Because I felt it before, outside of the game. Times in my life where I cut corners, where I gave up, where I chose the easier road. And each time the shadow of that choice lingered far longer than the struggle ever would have.
Hello? Can you hear me? Help me. I'm stuck.
Iron Fist Alexander is my favorite NPC in Elden Ring. And not because he's funny or quirky, but because he reflects something raw about all of us. He embodies that burning ambition to grow stronger and the fragility that comes with it.
I was created to be a warrior vessel. Many great warriors reside within me, ever dreaming of becoming a great champion. It's my destiny, and the reason for which I quest. It is my ordeal, you could say. To test myself, to better myself, to fell ever greater foes. And then, one day, we'll be a single great champion. The greatest of them all. What do you think, eh? How do you rate my chances?
We all wake up every day with the same urge. To be better, to climb higher, to face down obstacles that scare us. Ultimately, we're all chasing the same dream that Alexander voices so plainly. But here's the truth. Dreams like these don't come from the safety of comfort. They demand that we step out into the unknown. Like I said in my Dark Souls video, it's that terrifying first step outside a Firelink Shrine, leaving behind the warm glow of the bonfire and walking into darkness you don't yet understand. For Alexander, that darkness had a name. General Radahn, a living demigod. A festival of warriors gathered just to test their might against him. Even Alexander, the jar who had been so full of pride and ambition, quivered at the thought. Because when you stand before something that much bigger than you, fear is inevitable. We'd heard the legends. Radahn, the warrior who clashed with Melania herself, the blade of Mikola. And now here we were, face to face with him. And then Alexander said something that hit me harder than any boss fight.
But the fear simply assures me the ordeal is worth undertaking.
That line made my heart sink. Because in that moment, it wasn't just Alexander speaking. It was a reminder I needed to hear. That fear doesn't mean we're unworthy. Fear is proof that the fight matters. That every time I've stood in front of something in my own life, a project I wasn't sure I could pull off, a leap I was terrified to take, the fear itself was the sign. The ordeal was worth it. Fear isn't our enemy. It's not weakness, and it's not proof that we're unworthy. Fear is a compass, and the bigger it feels, the more it shakes us. The more certain we can be that something on the other side is waiting to transform us. And that's why Elden Ring hits so hard. It doesn't let us tiptoe through a safe story. It throws us against gods and legends, forcing us to tremble. And in that trembling, to realize that we're standing exactly where we need to be. This is where the game stops being just a game, because Alexander's words about Radahn aren't really about Radahn at all. They're about us. About the job application you're too scared to submit. About the person you keep rehearsing words for but never speak them aloud. About that project gathering dust because the thought of failing gnaws at you more than the thought of never trying. Fear whispers, don't. But Alexander reminds us the fear simply assures us the ordeal is worth undertaking. Of course, words are powerful, but they're not magic. As inspiring as Alexander's vow is, fear doesn't guarantee success, and we learn that the hard way in his very next trial. When he's called to face the demigod, the great jar warrior barely lasts a moment. One crushing blow, that's all it takes to split his vessel and to scatter his insides across the battlefield. It's humiliating, tragic, and unforgettable, because in that instant, Elden Ring teaches us a bitter truth. Failure is not a possibility, it's a certainty.
Ah, hello there. It was a battle marvelously fought. You are well and truly a champion, friend. I, on the other hand, am nothing but a crock. One hit was all it took to crack me, and for my insides to come spilling out. After that, I hid like a coward, and as such, I can hardly stand to face one such as you.
You can prepare for weeks, you can train until your hands ache, you can carry every ounce of courage in your chest and still fall short. And when the cracks appear, it's tempting to believe that the story ends there, that being broken once means we'll never be whole again. But Alexander refuses to let that be his ending. Instead of abandoning his dream, he turns his cracks into a challenge. He gathers the remains of fallen warriors that fell in the wake of the shattering, carrying the strength inside of him.
But don't you think I've given up just yet? As luck would have it, there's a veritable mountain of warriors' bodies right here. If I can just squeeze this bunch down inside me, I'll be a mighty warrior again in no time. And you know, the bodies found here are exceedingly fine. Who could expect any less from the very warriors who fought in the shattering? The greatest of all wars. Just you wait and see, friend. I'll grow even stronger. Just you wait when next we meet.
And then, in one of the game's most hauntingly beautiful moments, he descends into a volcano to reforge himself, fire and ash, fusing his broken clay into something stronger.
Oh, mountain of fire! Bake me in your flames!
He doesn't erase his failure, he transforms it. And maybe that's why his story resonated with me so deeply. Because I've felt those same cracks in my own life. I've failed at projects I cared about. I've chosen the easy way out and carried the quiet shame of it. But what Alexander reminds me is that the failure itself isn't the end. My response to it is. I can wallow in self-pity all I want, or I can learn, adapt, and rise again. That's why I make videos like these. Not just to talk about the games I love, but to remind myself, and hopefully you too, that being broken isn't the end. It's the forge where strength is made. Failure is inevitable, yes, and failure always leaves marks. Alexander carries his in the form of cracks running along his vessel. We carry ours in scars, some visible, most not. But those cracks are not signs of weakness. They're proof. Proof that we've fought, endured, and lived to tell the story. It's the same way calluses form on our hands after countless hours of training. At first it hurts, the skin splits, but over time, the places that once tore apart grow stronger. The scars don't vanish, they transform into armor. And that's why every time we cross paths with Alexander, he's different. Not untouched, not unbroken, but tougher, wiser, more resilient. Each defeat shapes him into a stronger warrior, and whether we realize it or not, the same thing is happening to us. Because in life we always face the same choice, to let failure define us or to let it refine us. It's an endless grind of trying, failing, and standing back up. And with each repetition, we become less afraid of the fall. I'll be honest with you, my last video underperformed badly compared to the amount of work I poured into it. That stung, yes. But instead of letting it bury me, I've chosen to see it as one more crack in my own vessel. A reminder that the work matters more than the outcome. So here I am again, back in the forge, making another one. And that's exactly what I want for you, too. To keep showing up, scars and all. To see your cracks not as failures, but as proof that you're still in the fight. After felling the fire giant and kindling the flame that sets the Erd Tree ablaze, we're cast into the crumbling Far Missoula. For me, it's one of the most breathtaking areas in the game. A place where time itself seems fractured, the world collapsing in on itself, and fittingly, this is where fate brings us and Alexander together one final time. Far Missoula mirrors Alexander's own journey. His body cracked, patched, reforged, yet he still marches on, clutching the dream that has carried him since the start, to be a true warrior. And it's here, of all places, that he asks us for his last test.
Which means I've but one thing to ask of you. Would you kindly undertake my ordeal? Come and tell me when you're ready. I've been longing to fight a warrior as accomplished as you.
Not against Radahn, not against a god, but against us. Because for Alexander, it was never about proving himself to the world. It was about proving something to himself. And isn't that the truest battle we all face? To act not for applause, not for validation, but for the quiet peace of knowing we stay true to our own path. This is where his story comes full circle. His cracks tell the story of every failure, every defeat, but his resolve, even as the world literally crumbles around him, tells the story of an unbreakable spirit. When we fight him here, we're not facing a mere NPC. We're facing a warrior forged by fire, tempered by suffering and strengthened by every scar. And when we land the final blow, tears welling in our eyes, we don't destroy his dream. We complete it. We give him peace.
My thanks. I knew you were the stuff of champions. It was a marvelous battle.
The peace of knowing he became exactly what he always longed to be. That day, Alexander didn't die broken. He died a warrior.
All vessels are destined to one day break. But the great Alexander lived as a warrior to his last.
Here's the truth. No vessel lasts forever. Clay cracks, steel rusts. Even the strongest jars, even the greatest warriors are destined to shatter one day. That is the nature of being alive. And yet that doesn't make the story meaningless. If anything, it makes it sacred. Strength isn't found in never breaking, it's found in the courage to rise again, to gather the pieces, forge yourself anew, and keep walking forward despite the weight of all you've endured. Alexander's journey reminds us of something essential. All vessels are destined to one day break. But not today. Today, we march. Today, we face the ordeal. Today, we fight for the fire in our hearts. Not for applause, but for the quiet peace of knowing we live true to ourselves. And when the day finally comes, when our vessel does break, may it be said of us what was said of Iron Fist Alexander. That we lived as a warrior to our last. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. I put a lot of effort into this one. Let me know down below if you enjoy this kind of content, and if you do, subscribe so you don't miss my next one. If you want to support me, my Ko-Fi link will be down in the description. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Take care.